Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the Week 13 flagship college football show. Hopefully you guys are all ready to get some picks in, get some deep dives going. We got some really, really fun games for your Thanksgiving week. Hopefully everybody is off work. You are all making millions and millions of dollars, and that you're getting to enjoy it with as little family as humanly possible. I think that's what everybody tries to do, right? We all say that we love our family, but you get that one day, and then, I'll see y'all again some other time, right?
Not my people. I don't have a say in this, but
I can understand it. But yes, it is Thanksgiving, and the scheduling gods have given us some pretty good matchups this week, so we are going to dive into those. But before we do, all you guys jumping into the chat, Gerald Martinez said, new do. Yeah, got it all chopped off. Went ahead and just cut the whole thing. Just told him, hey, you know what? Just buzz it all. Just get rid of it. I don't want to deal with it. So let's go ahead and tell you what you need to do. Go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. That is your one-stop shop. That is the website for all your college football gambling needs. Very easy to do. I'm telling you, everything is right there. We've got a fantastic crew. Sportsbook Review does a great job of hiring in the right people. Let me just tell you that right off the bat. We've got a good college basketball show that's going on now. The guys from 3-Man Weave are heading that up. They're doing a morning show. Go and check them out. Our buddies on the NFL side doing great stuff over there. We got a lot of sports coming up, so go and check it all out. I'm telling you, Sportsbook Review, sbrpicks.com and sbrpicks.com/NCAAF for your college football stuff. Along with that, you're already on the video. Go ahead and like the video. Just that little thumbs up button right there. That helps us out a whole lot. We don't ask a whole lot of you, but if you would like it, and go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. That way you know exactly when we're going live every single week. Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday are the days for us. This Saturday, closing line show, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're not going to be here for Friday. I got some things I got to handle with the fam. You know how it goes. So I will be out of town, but I will be back in time for Saturday morning. You better believe it. And we have a full slate of games on Saturday. Goodness gracious. Along with that, the Pick 6 contest is still rolling. Go over sbrpicks.com/pick6, PICK6, the number 6. Very easy to do. It's free to sign up. Pick NFL games, pick college football games. Just pick 6 of them against the number, and you can win your share of up to $1,700 in cash prizes. And we tell you this every week. We're not going to be able to get to every game. There are too many of them. And we know a bunch are getting canceled and all that. We got all that. But we're not going to get to all of them. So if you want to reach out, you want to get our opinion on a game, we'll respond to you if you hit us up on Twitter. You can follow us. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And let's go ahead and dive into our Week 12 recap. And we lost a ton of games. And I'm not saying that we lost against the number. I'm saying they were canceled. So from the Tuesday show until Saturday, Chris and I both had a ton of games that fell off the board. So at the end of the day, I ended up 2-3 in Week 12. That puts me at 42, 37, and 2. That's 53.16%. Not great. Chris didn't have as many as I did drop off. He ended up 3-4 last week. Puts him at 39 and 40 on the season. That's 49.37%. I feel like we are going to get back on the right side of things this week. I love these lines this week.
Yeah, 2 of my lines that dropped off are my 2 favorite bets of the day.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say that's a cop-out now because the game's not going to be played, but they were my 2 favorite bets.
Yeah. No, it makes it. It's where you felt you had the best edge.
Yeah.
By the way, jump into the comments with where you see the best edge this week. We'd love to hear from you. Just toss it in there. That way we can come back and check in on you, see what you did. That way you guys can check in on us. We can check in on you guys as well. So William Bush jumps in. He said for sure about Jose Gonzalez saying that this is the best college football show out there.
We appreciate that.
I love hearing stuff like that. For sure. Chad Nelson said, got my ass kicked last week. Time to do better this week. Hey, we understand. We know. But that's why it's a week-to-week thing, man. This season is a grind. It's not – Chris had a 10-0 week one week. And then the next week, it's right back to working just as hard to get back to that 10-0. You taste that glory one week. You just got to get right back up to it, right? So we're going to work to get to that. I feel an 11-0 coming for me this week. Maybe.
All right.
I'm feeling good. If that happens, though, you're going to end up with a loss because I know we're going head-to-head on one.
That's fine.
But All right. Let's dive into the biggest game of the weekend. College game day will be there. Live from Tuscaloosa, number 22 Auburn heading down to T-Town to face off against number 1 Alabama. Alabama, a 24.5-point favorite right now. The total is 62.5. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Prediction Tracker has this Alabama minus 20.5. And I think that that's probably about right. They always overinflate the Alabama lines.
Yes.
It happens every year, almost every game, right? Now, at the same time, I thought this last week with Kentucky, and Bama beat them by 60. So that's always hanging out there, right? There's always that possibility that they can just get white hot, right?
Yeah, but Kentucky and Auburn are two totally different teams. Not that
agree.
Alabama won't cover this game, but I think Auburn is considerably better than Kentucky. I also think that Auburn has, while they won a bunch of games early while playing poorly and having a lot of calls go their way, they have gotten better over the season. Kentucky has regressed as the season's gone on. I fully believe they are not nearly as good of a team as they were when they started the season.
Well, Kentucky was also missing several guys due to COVID protocols,
I'm
etc.
done complaining about missing guys. Every team's missing dudes.
Oh, it's true.
They've gotten worse as the season's gone on.
It is true. It is true. James jumps in. Auburn will backdoor cover. Bama will clear the benches in the second half. I don't know if that's the case. Their Alabama players are pissed off about how last season went. Remember, Auburn won last year 48-45. 2 Mac Jones pick sixes, one that fell off of a receiver's back into a guy's hands, and he wasn't even looking for it. There was a lot of stuff that went into last season's game, and the Alabama players are pretty irritated about it. Even still, Auburn is a good football team. With the talent discrepancy, in the first game of the year, I bet on Auburn against Kentucky, saying Auburn has just
a lot more
talent. They had 3 times the number of blue chippers.
Yes.
Well, Alabama's got, where Auburn had 46 blue chippers to 15 for Kentucky, Alabama's got like 62 blue chippers to 46.
You don't carry 3 stars on your roster.
Pretty much. So Alabama 1-3 against the spread the last 4 against Auburn. However, they are 3-1 against the spread the last 4 in Tuscaloosa. What that means this year, probably not the same as it would in a typical year. I know Chris hates to talk about the road, home, split, whatever.
It's because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. What was the stat that you told me just the other day?
A couple of days ago, we looked it up. And after last week's games, we found out that 50.65% of the road teams have covered the lines.
Yeah.
And so it's right at 50-50 home and away. It does not matter. Home field advantage is irrelevant this year.
Yeah, it's not an advantage.
If you think it's an edge, that's just something that helps you sleep better at night. I don't mind stats. I don't mind stats that actually help you make decisions, but confirmation bias isn't going to help anything.
Agreed.
So I don't like stats that just talk you into stuff. If you like your play, and like it for whatever the hell reason you want, but don't like it for wrong reasons.
So there is a totals metric that you can use. A lot of sportsbook use this just to kind of get an idea before they dive into the actual metrics of recency and all that. That metric would be the points per game for each team added, and then you add in the points per game total that they have given up, and then you divide it by the national average points per game, right? So in this situation, that metric would give you a total of 58.86. So the total should be around 59. Instead, this total is sitting at 62.5. Are you thinking over here?
I got no opinion about it. I've seen Auburn's offense struggle to score.
Yeah.
Alabama's secondary can be got, but this is what's crazy. I love Auburn's receivers. I don't know that there's a better receiving core in the country talent-wise at the receiver position from their starters. The problem is they haven't had a single game except for the LSU game where they looked great.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And so I've been the Bo Nix defender, and you've told me he's really not that good. If he's just not that good, they don't have what it takes to take advantage of Alabama's weakness.
Yes.
Alabama has weakness. The problem is we've only seen one team take advantage of that, and that was Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And they just didn't have you're talking about a team that doesn't have blue chippers. I mean, they're rolling out 12 blue chippers against 60-something blue chippers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the difference there. And they gave Alabama all they wanted because they could attack the one thing Bama does poorly.
Yeah.
I don't know that Auburn can do that.
The 62.5 would lead you to believe that this would be somewhere around a 45-17-ish game. And that, I mean, to me, that sounds right, but I kind of expect Auburn to be able to put up more points than that because I just trust Gus Malzahn in this game.
Now, Gus knows how to coach in this game. He's been a big part of it for a long time, and he's got the best record against Alabama from anybody in the country.
Yes.
I will tell you this. I still think there's a world where Gus is teetering on job security. If he wins this, it's a lock. We're not worried about that. We're not dealing with that, and he'll get another extension and a raise.
Yeah.
And he should, by the way. Beating Bama's not easy, and he has to try to do it every year in the most important part of the season.
Gerald Martinez said, I think Bama can score all over Auburn. And Robert said Seth Williams is going to make some big catches in this game. He has consistently made Bo Nix look better than he actually is. That's true.
Yeah.
He did it last year in this exact spot.
He did it last year, and he's amazing. The problem is Schwartz has not been a factor all year. That's the fastest guy I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand how that works, by the way. I'm not an offensive guy. I don't understand this stuff. I'm just telling you, you got a guy that fast. You got to find a way to get him the ball, not with end arounds, not behind the logic, open field.
Yes.
Get
him out there, wheel routes, anything.
Get him in space, and he could find space because nobody can guard him.
Wheel routes from him would be dangerous.
Yeah, but they don't run them.
They don't run them.
They give him these little bubble screens, which you know how much I hate throwing football behind the line of scrimmage. I need 12 yards. Let's throw it 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Now we need 14. Good job. God, so annoying.
Hey, is this the best rivalry in college football?
No, I really think when our game, when LSU's right, I think our team is the biggest rivalry in college football.
With LSU, Alabama?
Yeah. Because it's competitive year in and year out usually. Okay. Hang on. That more than competitive, it matters because it usually determines somebody going to Atlanta.
That is true.
And Auburn has usually had to, because you play this game much later than that game, Auburn has a loss or two. And so even beating Bama doesn't help get them to Atlanta. It just takes Alabama from going there. When we play, because it's earlier, I think that matters. The Michigan-Ohio State rivalry has to be thrown out because it's just one-sided. It doesn't matter anymore.
No, exactly.
It just doesn't matter. And there are other big rivalries.
Army-Navy.
That's
a fun one.
That's probably the best one because I don't think the hatred
pageantry
and the vitriol is there, but you have the beauty of everything that we love about college sports without the vitriol and the vile hatred that's there. Those teams don't like each other, but they don't burn one another's houses down for winning or losing the game either.
Agreed. All right. Let's move off of that one. Let's move into a Friday game. Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. The Fighting Irish and Notre Dame headed over to Chapel Hill to face off against North Carolina. Mac Brown and that bunch going up against Brian Kelly and his bunch. The prediction tracker has this Notre Dame minus 5.2. That's exactly where the line is. Notre Dame minus 5, total of 67.5. That is a lot of points.
That's more points than we're getting. I'm just telling you that right now. Unless this Notre Dame offense and they have last couple of weeks shocked me. I've been wrong. I thought they're not going to keep scoring the way they have because they haven't all year. They flipped a switch in that Clemson game.
Yes, they have scored 45 points in 3 of the last 4 games. Remember, they put up 45 on Pitt. Mm-hmm. They put 31 up on Georgia Tech in the look-ahead spot before Clemson, put up 47 on Clemson, put up 45 against Boston College.
And
they are
2
rolling.
Of those, Pitt and Clemson, those defenses are no joke,
baby. Oh, no, you're right.
I think those defenses are better than North Carolina's, and I like North Carolina's defense, but they're not Clemson.
Agreed. Here's the only thing that scares me about this, right? Like, this is definitely a trap kind of game, right?
Yes.
And the reason I say that, Notre Dame has got some issues on their offensive line right now. So, center Jarrett Patterson, he's out for the season. Their right guard, Tommy Kramer, had an appendectomy.
I know. So he's probably
he's out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You got 2 of those guys right in the middle of your line, just interior linemen. That is an issue. Ryan Kennedy jumps in, they put 12 on Louisville. Yeah. They got it rolling after
That's
Louisville,
what I'm trying to. That's everything before Clemson. That you don't have to just give that. Everything before Clemson was garbage offensively.
Yes. That offensive line thing is a big problem.
So, yes, you're right. And normally I would absolutely be afraid of that. Here's my problem. I've watched Ron Kelly and Notre Dame for the last 10 years put the best offensive lineman in football, in the NFL, and we thought, oh, well, they lost some big pieces on that line. And then the next guy up is all of a sudden the next best offensive lineman that's going to be drafted. They've become what Wisconsin was.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, I don't like that it's two of them, but if it was just one of them, I assume somebody taking that spot, that's a kid that's just a monster that's waiting for his turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might be
you
wrong.
might be right about that.
Losing 2's going to be tough. North Carolina's defense is good. I still like Notre Dame in this game.
Gerald jumped in. He said over, and then he said, damn, 67 points. Yeah, it's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, man. That over would scare me to death, but it wouldn't surprise me.
The metric that I was just talking about has the total at 67.82.
Yeah.
And it's right there at
These
67.5.
are pretty good at what they do, right?
They are, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. All right, we'll move off. Oh, by the way, North Carolina has covered 3 straight as a home dog. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I don't care
It's
about
a short
that.
line.
I don't care about that.
Okay. Moving on, game number 3 here, another Friday game. This is the early Friday game. Iowa State headed down to Austin to face off against the Texas Longhorns, and boy, does Tom Herman need a win. Now, everybody has talked about how great Iowa State looked last week, right? 45-0. They whipped up on Kansas State. And then Texas comes out the favorite. And we know what happened the last time that somebody put a whipping on Kansas State at home when we weren't really expecting it, right?
Yeah.
West Virginia whipped up on Kansas State 37-13 or 37-10, whatever it was, destroyed them. And then they go down to Austin the next week and they get beat 17-13. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be a 17-13 game.
That's not West Virginia, Kansas State, though.
Agreed. Texas is a 1.5 point favorite.
This is a different caliber of football.
It might be. Total of 56. Seemed a little short. I don't think it's short.
I don't think it's short.
Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. It's on ABC, by the way. Prediction Tracker has Texas minus 2.68 here. Iowa State 2-7 straight up their last 9 against Texas. They are 0-4 against the spread against the Longhorns under Matt Campbell. Last year, Iowa State got the win, 23-21, but they were favored by 7. That was when Texas had lost basically their entire defense, like all 3 of their running backs, all this different kind of stuff. Texas has had 3 weeks to get their guys right, to get guys healthy, etc. The Kansas game last week was canceled or postponed or whatever you want to call it now. They had a bunch of guys that were on their injury list that are all expected to play this week. The only questionable is running back Keontae Ingram, and it's not like he's done it a lot anyway this year. This is going to be an interesting spot because I think a lot of people expect Texas to just, fall flat on their face. Like
I don't think people expect Texas to fall flat on their face. I think you're wrong.
You think so?
I think that's wrong. Well, I'm going to tell you that right now it's 92% of people betting on Texas. So that is wrong.
Okay. I will say this. I am riding Texas here.
Okay.
I think they get this win. I think they are the better team. And, Texas has won 3 straight since losing 2 straight to TCU and Oklahoma. They're kind of getting a little bit better.
And they're beating bad teams. Gary, come on. Jesus Christ.
Who has Iowa State beaten?
But I'm not talking about Iowa State beating on a 3-game winning streak against bad teams. I didn't use that as an example.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you this. Texas can't stop anybody on defense. They still can't stop people.
Okay.
All right. You think they're going to stop this offense?
Yeah, I think so.
You do?
Yeah, I think they will slow them down.
All right. I don't believe that's
the
happening.
best thing that Iowa State does is run the football with Breece Hall,
okay.
Right? The best thing that Texas does on defense is stop the run.
No, they don't stop the run against anybody. Just nobody runs it against them because it's so easy to throw.
Okay.
This is one of those situations where stats lie. Oklahoma put a gazillion yards up against them. They didn't run the football. Well, they held them to running less than 100 yards. Sure they did, but they threw it for 700. So who gives a shit? This defense is bad. This defense is definitively bad. Now, Texas might win this game. Texas might win. They might cover. That could happen. But it won't be because they're a defensive juggernaut.
No, I never said it's because they're defensive.
Well, it won't be because
they'll slow them down.
It won't be because they slowed them down.
I don't think Iowa State scores 45 points this week.
All right. Well, the total is 58. So they're not projected to score 45.
No.
What do you think their team total is?
What the projected team
Iowa
total is?
Iowa State's team total. What is
it? It's a 27.
I'll take the over. You want to take the under?
Yeah, I'll take the under.
All right. I'll do that. Iowa State's going to win this football game. I think, listen, Texas hasn't played a team that hasn't beaten themselves yet, or that they just weren't just far superior than.
Okay.
That's the issue. Iowa State's not going to make penalties. Iowa State's not going to turn the football over. Texas takes advantage of those things that they have elite talent to be able to do that on the offense. So if you give them extra possessions and by getting yourself behind the sticks and by giving up the football and giving them extra possessions, you let that offense beat you. The problem is Iowa State's not going to do that.
Okay.
They're absolutely not going to do that.
Did you see what Jansen said?
I don't know who Jansen is. No.
Jansen said, who pissed in this man's cherry?
Nothing. I just don't like bad arguments. That's all. I don't like when stats lie. I don't like when you say, oh, well, they can stop the run, and that's all these guys are good at. They hadn't stopped the run against anybody. Nobody runs on them. You know who ran on them? TCU ran all over them.
On
Texas.
No, that was more downing than it was anything else.
Well,
so that was passing, man.
But okay,
and it was Texas turnovers and everything else. Like there was a lot going on there.
Yeah, so, sloppy football.
Yeah.
Who plays sloppy football?
Well, that was what, 2 months ago?
So they're just different teams now. Tom Herman's got this team better.
I think they're playing better than they did.
Okay.
I mean, Iowa State also lost to Louisiana by 17 points. So
all right, Louisiana's a better football team than TCU.
Casey jumped in. Somebody jumped in and said Texas beat Oklahoma State. But then Casey's the one that actually said that. But yeah, it's more like Oklahoma State beat themselves against Texas. I mean, they had 5 turnovers in the game. It is what it is. Steven said TCU almost beat Iowa State. Yeah, it was the same game, just, Texas fumbled on the 1-yard line. Is what it is. So, yeah, like Steven said, did you watch them against Lafayette and TCU? Yes, and that was at the beginning of the season. It's 2 completely different deals here. I like Texas. You like Iowa State.
I like Iowa State.
We will see what is happening from there. Robert said, I've picked against Texas twice this year. They've proved me wrong. I'm picking Texas to cover the spread. Well, you know what? Best of luck to you. I will be riding with you. But I got to tell you, I just don't think they can stop the run. I think people just haven't ran on them. I think those are 2 different things. That's all. Okay.
That's all. When you have a bad defense, I just don't assume you're really good at one thing and you're really so bad at the other thing that everybody can just do it at will. That's the difference.
Okay.
I think you're bad at defense.
William Robinson jumped in. LOL. I love this show.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yes. When we can get you passionate about a subject, man, I
don't like when stats lie.
Well, this
is why I don't like analytics, because they lie all the time.
Let's quit the lying and let's move into what I think might be the most entertaining game of Saturday morning, maybe just Saturday period, and that would be Kent State heading to Buffalo. And that's right, we're picking a Maction game for our Saturday showcase.
I'm really annoyed that we're not having Maction Wednesday night.
Well, yeah,
I'm really annoyed by that. This game's going to be on when there's a lot of other games on that I want to watch.
There's 100 college basketball games on Wednesday. That's why.
Who cares about that? We're not here for college basketball.
Yeah, but it's ESPN and CBS.
We're not playing
Sports
a round
Network.
ball. Give me Maction.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's the scheduling stuff. Now that we got college basketball back, Maction is moving to the weekend, and it is what it is. So this is going to be lumped in with everything else. But this is going to be a fascinating ball game. Buffalo, a 7.5-point favorite, total of 68. Oh, hey, that Iowa State-Texas game, by the way, the metric for the total,
analytics,
68.6. So it's 12 points higher than the total that's right here.
Yeah.
So whole different deal, though. Kent State and Buffalo, minus 7.5, 68 the total. That total metric that I was talking about has it at 85.74 points for this ball game. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong. I think I would probably go over in this spot. I do. So the one thing here that you can trust is both of these offenses will score.
Yep.
The team that has the better defense is, of course, Buffalo. So I will go ahead and tell you one of my team total bets or my official picks is Buffalo's team total over 37. They are going to get into the 40s without a problem. It won't be an issue. So Kent State, they have got their offense rolling. They have scored 65 and 69 points in their last 2 games. I mean, 62 and 69.
82 points though, man.
I know that's a lot. I don't know that it'll get there, but if this game gets in the 40s,
will either of these teams try to slow down their offense?
Possibly. So if Buffalo gets a big enough lead, like they're going
to milk that clock before they snap the football. They're still going to rush the ball for 13 yards a touch. They're just going to use all 40 seconds.
Yes. Lance Leipold is smart
and not go out of bounds. I mean, that's because they're really well coached and they're a pretty disciplined football team.
Yes. Kent State 2-4 straight up and against the spread in their last 6 against Buffalo. This year, both of these teams are undefeated so far. But Kent State has played Eastern Michigan, Bowling Green, and Akron. Buffalo has played Northern Illinois, Miami of Ohio, and Bowling Green. So we do have a common opponent in Bowling Green. Kent State beat them 62-24. Buffalo beat them 42-17. And could have beaten them worse if they wanted.
You can't. They both beat the hell out of them.
Yeah,
once you're beating somebody by 4 scores, you just stop saying, "Well, we beat them by more than you beat them." You beat somebody by 30. You beat them by 30.
The prediction tracker has this Buffalo minus 10.66.
I think that's high, but the line is not. 10.
The line has moved down.
Yeah, because it opened at 9.5.
Yeah, and it's down to 7.5.
7.5. So I thought it was high when it opened. This is where I think it should be. I think this number's too scary for me to touch.
I tend to agree.
If you had to play it, who you taking?
If I had to play it, I would take Buffalo.
I would too, because I think
take the team with the defense.
Well,
or at least somewhat.
Take the team that we think we kind of all know really good, and they just need to win by 2 scores.
A lot of returning production for Buffalo. Jansen jumps in. Kent State defense, thumbs down. Yeah.
No, they can score, and it's going to be fun to watch, which is why I wish it was on TV tomorrow night by itself. But that's fine. I'm not going to watch basketball.
William Bush said a local high school team can beat Bowling Green.
Yeah, I do think that we could.
Scott Leffler and Brian Van Gorder
are people that are
putrid. Oh my God, they're awful. But either way, we appreciate them, being around so we can bet against them. That always helps, So yeah, if I had to choose a side, I would go Buffalo. Now Kent State did win this game 30-27 last year.
I think Kent State can score. This is going to be fun.
Yes,
I just can't play this total at
68. I mean,
at 82.
Well, no, 82 is the metric.
Oh, I thought you said that's
80,
what the total
85.
is.
The total is 68.
Oh, then it's over easy. All right, I'm sorry. I had a stroke there while you were talking, and I was like, I was writing down a note for something to play later and to give out later. But then I was like, did he just say this total was
No. The metric is 85. So it would be 17 points over. And that's just the points per game.
I'm not worried about that. I don't care. If the total in the game is in the 60s and it hasn't hit 70 yet, then yeah, you just take the over and
roll with it.
Cash the money. I mean,
that's kind of the smart thing there. All right, game number 5 here. Let's go with another G5. San Jose State heading over to the blue turf to face off against Boise State. Boise currently an 11.5-point favorite, total of 58. It's 4 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. That's right. They got the big Fox national network showcasing the Broncos a little bit. But San Jose State is the team that's got the goose egg in the loss column. Boise already got the tail whip once. Can San Jose State go in there and do it this time? You don't think so?
No. If San Jose State had played BYU, they'd had that goose egg. They'd had that tail whoop too.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Boise, according to Prediction Tracker, favored by 9.84. So 2 points off, a point in 1 3/4 points off, whatever. The total here is sitting at 58. Well, the metric would say 52.41.
Yeah, I'm not messing with the total. I could see this being lower scoring. I could kind of see it getting out of hand and being high scoring. That's not anything I have a feel on. I think Buffalo played a game way closer than they wanted to last week. I know that San Jose State is good. I don't think they're nearly good enough to hang with Buffalo.
Boise.
Boise. Yeah. I'm sorry. I get to play. I get them, and I just need to win by 2 scores. I think I'd take it.
I am going the other side here.
I know.
I'm going San Jose State. That defense is pretty legit.
They're going to have to be really legit.
Oh, yeah, I think they will be. Williams said, Boise pissed me off against Hawaii. Yep, had them minus 13, went to bed, woke up a loss. Yeah, Chris was the same way.
I did the same thing, but you look, this is not how this thing's going to work. Just because they lost last week, that's an even better reason for me to bet on them this week.
That's it, yeah.
They played too close of a game, and now they're like, no, quit screwing around with these teams. Let's beat the hell out of them.
James said Boise State plays well at home. I think they win, but SJSU covers. And Gerald said, I think San Jose State is vulnerable in the secondary. They got thrown on over the top by New Mexico.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is they haven't played. San Diego State is the game where this is where San Jose really caught our eye. San Jose State doesn't throw the ball over the top at all. That's not a part of their offense.
It is when Nick Starkel is in, right? And he's back in now.
But he wasn't in this game.
He wasn't in the San Diego because he got hurt on the first. Yeah.
So
first thing.
I think Boise can absolutely do that.
Yes.
And they're well coached enough to say, oh, we can take advantage of this. We're just going to do this all day.
Yeah, it is possible. I do think that the San Jose State defense is pretty good, though. I think that they can keep this within the number. That's where I'm leaning on it. Because
their best
I think
defense is going to be pressure.
I
don't think they can cover the receivers at Boise. I think the Boise receivers are too big and too athletic. They have to pressure the quarterback. They have to put him on his back. That's their only way to slow the passing game down.
San Jose State 0-10 straight up against Boise State the last 10 games, but they are 5-5 against the spread in those. They have covered the last two. Last year, it was Boise State 52-42 down in San Jose. So, San Jose State is 4-0 against the spread this year. I'm feeling pretty good about this. They do have a common opponent. Boise beat Air Force 49-30. San Jose State beat them 17-6. So two completely different ball games.
That's not a metric that I think has any value, but it's funny.
It is funny.
It does lean more my way than yours, but that's okay.
Well, we could say that, or we could say that Boise gave up 24 more points than San Jose State did.
Okay.
And so you can look at it both ways. But either way, they both got to win over Air Force. So is what it is. All right, let's move off of this. Let's go on and talk about the interesting games. The first interesting game that we have is Thanksgiving. Of course, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving games, right? Because everybody's going to be sitting at home, hanging out, eating some turkey or whatever it is. What do y'all have? Y'all have like Italian Thanksgiving?
Well, a little bit. Yeah, we do a lot of Italian.
Y'all do turkey though?
Somebody's going to bring turkey. I'm not going to touch that trash.
Y'all do fried turkeys?
I don't know what they make. I don't eat it.
Colorado State and Air Force. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Air Force, a 5.5-point favorite. We already talked about them in the last game. 55 points is the total. Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS Sports Network. Now, obviously, you can be watching NFL or you can be watching two teams that are playing basically for pride here.
Hey, man.
You can watch a bald Italian man coaching over in Colorado, Steve Adazio, or you can watch Troy Calhoun and his crazy ass. And look, Prediction Tracker has Air Force minus 13.65 here. So they've got the spread off by a touchdown.
Yeah, the Prediction Tracker definitely doesn't like the metrics for what the books have.
Yes.
And I think it's backwards the other way real bad. So yeah. I'm probably way off on this thing.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. We've talked about this before. Air Force is Tulane-ish.
Yes.
You don't know who you're going to get from week to week.
They could have to
have.
They could show up and they could shut you down and score 24 in one half.
Yeah.
And in the other half, not score at all, not get a first down and give up 28 to 30. And you just got whipped. So I don't know. I like Adazio. I trust Adazio. That's it. I don't have any logic. I don't have any stats for you. I'm telling you, don't bet against the bald Italian.
I mean, I think that makes sense. That total metric, by the way, would have the total at 46.5 points. And it's sitting here at 55.
55, yeah.
9 points off.
I'm not touching that because
something's off.
If we start getting some turnovers and this game gets a little fluky one way or the other, it just can get ugly and get squirrely on you bad.
Turkey Bowl kind of games, you never know what's going to happen. So, all right, we'll move on to the next one, and this one is called the Civil War. Let's talk about the Oregon Ducks headed over to face off against the Oregon State Beavers. This is a Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time game on ESPN. Oregon, a 13.5-point favorite, total of 64 here. And, Prediction Tracker's got this about right, 15.45 in favor of Oregon, 62.88 the total metric. and that's not that far off from 64 there. You know, Joe Moorhead's offense at Oregon, I did not think that he would have time to get it implemented correctly. He never seemed to get it going at Mississippi State, but he seems to have it going at Oregon. They are averaging 7.5 yards per play. That offense is kind of rolling. They haven't looked great so far this season, but in a way, they have kind of dominated the teams that they've played. So, 13.5. So this line opened what, 14.5 or 15?
It's gone down.
And it's gone down. I kind of think that I would like to side with Oregon State, but I think that Oregon defense is still okay. Like, I think they're okay in this spot. I would lean Oregon. This isn't going to be an official play for me.
No, if I had to play it, I would take Oregon, but I don't like this game at all. I think it stinks.
I love the game. I love the fact that this is the night game on ESPN. This is, 7 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, ESPN on Thanksgiving night. If we don't end up getting the Ravens and the Steelers, this is what everybody's going to be watching. And this is one of the more fun rivalries, right? Like, I'm interested in it.
No, I'm with you.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Maryland and Indiana. And boy, did Indiana put on a show last week. My goodness, against Ohio State. They put up, 500 yards passing, all sorts of stuff. And Maryland was doing this against teams before they had to close down for the COVID.
Yeah,
right?
They've missed 2 games now, Nora.
Two games. Yeah, they had to miss the Michigan State game last week. Yeah. I thought they were going to smoke them. They missed that one, and they missed the Ohio State game the week before that. Indiana is an 11.5-point favorite coming off of the moral victory, I guess you can say. 62.5 is the total. It's a 12 p.m. Eastern time game on Saturday on ESPN2. Prediction Tracker has Indiana minus 17.5 here. The best bet on the field right here is that Indiana will be able to score on Maryland's defense.
Correct.
And now we have to figure out, can Maryland score on Indiana's defense? I do think Indiana has a pretty good defense.
So I do too. Indiana gave Justin Fields, who I believe is in the conversation with Trevor as the best quarterback in football.
Yeah.
Gave him fits, man.
Oh, yes.
They pressured him like they haven't pressured anybody in a long time. I just haven't noticed it, I guess, because some of the offenses that they've been playing are so bad. But maybe those offenses really aren't that bad. I mean, maybe they made Penn State's offense look bad. Maybe they made Michigan's offense look bad.
It's entirely possible.
I mean, I because they made Fields look kind of bad.
They made him definitely look pedestrian.
They made him look normal. Let's say that. And, Tagovailoa, he hasn't had any kind of pressure at all in his first couple of games. Well, he did against Northwestern. Let's not get it confused here. This is not Northwestern's defense. But when Northwestern pressured him, they couldn't score at all.
Yeah.
I mean, blanked them. I don't know that Indiana's going to do that, but I think Indiana can control and slow this offense down. I don't think that they are the juggernaut that we think they are. I think this is if they have time and freedom, they can do what they want. If you can pressure them, they cannot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
I would be scared of this over. But this is one of those where we think, both these teams are going to show up, and one team shows up and the other one doesn't.
So the over, of course, smells juicy, right? There's a lot of people that have jumped in here already talking about the over.
What do you do if Maryland can't score?
Well, let me go on and tell you this. The metric that we talked about, the points per game metric, has it at 61.5. And that's a point under.
That's under. That's a point under. I think there's a world in which the teams that Maryland has played are real bad. Real bad.
It's entirely possible.
Because when they play the one good team, now that's a great team, but when they played that one good team, they didn't do anything. Yeah. They couldn't stop anybody and they couldn't score.
It was definitely nuts.
So if you get a 45-3 ball game again, that's under.
Yeah. No, you were right about that.
I like Illinois in this game. I'm super,
you mean Indiana?
Indiana, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm super biased in the sense of I want Tom Allen to be real.
That makes sense.
Because here's the thing. If you have the season that they've had so far, and then you go get beat by Ohio State, if you turn around and lose again to Maryland, everything we saw beforehand was a facade. It was all fake. It was all fraud. And I don't want I want to believe. I want to believe that it's real. I love this Tom Allen story.
That's what I wonder about is because
it might be my favorite story in college football right now.
They are
over Baylor, over BYU. I mean, over Cincinnati, over all of them.
They've done a good job of not getting too hyped, too emotional about any particular game, right?
Yes.
So, with that said, like, were they super emotional? Jansen said, "How many worlds you been to, man?" You've been to a lot of them. I guarantee it.
I live on a lot of worlds up here.
Yeah, I do wonder, did they get themselves super worked up last week, and now this is like completely fall back down to earth because they didn't get that done, or do they actually show up? Because I mean, they're at home.
If you don't show up in this game, Maryland does have the firepower to put it on you.
Yes,
that's the issue. Now, if you show up and you bring the same defense you brought to Ohio State, you brought to Michigan, to Penn State, I think you're going to bring that Maryland offense way back down to earth.
Yes. I agree.
Way back down there. They're not going to be 3 like Northwestern, but they're also not going to be 40 like they were the 2 weeks after Northwestern.
Agreed.
I mean, I think they're going to finish somewhere in the 20s, and you can score in the 30s. You can win. You can cover.
Yeah, I can get down with that. All right, we were going to talk Tulsa, Houston, but that one has been canceled, postponed. It was cut right before the show. So let's jump right into Pittsburgh at Clemson. Clemson, a 24-point favorite at home, total of 55. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. Prediction Tracker has this one, Clemson minus 20.6. And in the total of 55 here, the total metric that we use, 56.92. So right there on the number. Again, Clemson lines will be inflated. They typically always are. The analytics would have this Clemson, a little less than 3 touchdowns. Pitt has scored 41 and 47 points the last 2 weeks against Florida State and whoever they play, Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, yeah.
Yeah, they put a beating on that. They might have run Justin Fuente out of town. This is with Kenny Pickett back at quarterback. I do like Pitt a lot. If you can shut down Travis Etienne, which Pitt is definitely set up to be able to do, I tend to like Pitt here.
Yeah, I think this can be a 2-score game.
Yeah.
Or a 3-score game. Even a 3-score game, you're covered.
Pitt has beaten them in Death Valley before. I understand. I know it's not.
I'm not talking about the win though. I don't think there's a. Man, I don't know. They almost got this year by Boston College, so that was at home too.
Yeah.
I'm staying away because I don't like these big numbers. If Clemson comes out all cylinders fired, don't try to run the ball with ATM. Let him be your best receiver. Then I think there's a world in which they can just smoke Pitt. But yeah, I mean, I would take Pitt if I hadn't made a play on it. I'm playing Pitt. You're playing Pitt. I like that play. I don't dislike Pitt.
That's going to be an official play.
So I don't dislike it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't see Pitt's offense being 40 points good at all this year. And the fact that they've done it 2 weeks in a row. Listen, this Clemson defense, they're not the greatest defense. They're not terrible.
And they got guys.
But they're not as good as Pitt, and they're not as good as Notre Dame. They're the 3rd best defense in this conference. They might be the 4th best defense in this conference, depending on how Miami shows up.
Yep. Josh Gillum jumps in. Clemson got a few key injuries. Mark Ramey said Clem taking it to Pitt. I don't believe in him. Casey jumps in. I love Pitt to keep this close. A lot of different sides on this. James jumps in. He said Pitt Super Bowl here. Like this is
Pitt Super Bowl. Somebody's going to show up. That's the one thing about being the bully.
Yes.
Is everybody comes and gets you.
And now people want to point at that Notre Dame beatdown of them. Look, let's just talk about this, okay? Pitt got beat 45-3, but they did not have their top quarterback. They didn't have Kenny Pickett. And the guy that plays behind him is not great. So once you got him in there in that Mark Whipple offense, I tend to like him. Bertie said, does Pitt at least have a quarterback that is competent? I got screwed last week on Florida International because the senior quarterback's awful. If Pitt has it, it's Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. That's what Gary's talking about. That's why they scored 40 points in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're good. Pitt is pretty good. All right.
Yeah, the Stones to play 7.5 to 1 for money line.
I could put it in my round robin. I feel like Clemson is so focused on the wrong things right now.
Yeah, I do too.
Like they are so fired up about this Florida State crap.
I love seeing Dabo cry.
I'm telling you, in the ranking just came out, Clemson number 3 over Ohio State.
God. Yeah. So the ball washing of this team is ridiculous. Jesus.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about a little Pac-12 action. We got Colorado and USC. USC a 12-point favorite, total of 64. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday on ABC. The Trojans, prediction tracker has them minus 13.84, so right there, right around that number. The line has been going down. It opened, 2 touchdowns? Is that right?
Yeah,
Or did it move up? I thought it opened at 2 touchdowns and then came down. But either way, 13.84 is what the analytics say.
It opened at 10.5.
Oh, and it's gone up.
It's moved up.
Okay. That's it.
We got a little chicanery early.
Okay, that's right. I remembered something about
100% of the people. 100%. Now, this is Tuesday. It's early. So this line, the percentages and the number could change a lot. It went from 10.5 to 12. 100% of the picks are on Colorado.
Oh, so they're wanting more people to bet on Colorado.
Keep piling on Colorado. I'm telling you, there's a narrative out there that Clay Helton's not a good coach. And I think that narrative is wrong. He's not Urban Meyer. He's not Nick Saban. But I think he's not Brian Kelly. But I still think that's wrong.
I ain't hitching my wagon to Clay Helton.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it because I want people off of his back. I think he's been okay.
I did it last week. I'll do it again this week.
All right. So along with that, look, statistically, Colorado is the better team. Talent edge, nowhere close. They are not in the same
Colorado's
stratosphere.
played what? 1 game?
2. USC's played 3.
I don't want to hear about statistics.
So if we look at the points per game metric and all that, this total is sitting at 64. That metric would say it should be at 74.96, so 75 points. And I don't put that out of the realm of possibilities. Colorado, in their 2 games, has scored over 40 points in each game.
Yeah, I think so.
And,
they're not scoring 40, but I think they could score in the 30s.
I think they could certainly score on this USC defense.
Yeah, they're not impervious to being scored on. We've seen that.
I agree. Do you have a lean here?
Yeah, I like.
You taking USC?
I like USC.
Okay.
I do like USC. And some of it is just, I think the hate has gone too far.
It's possible.
That is 100% my stance of I'm okay with hating on guys. Listen, I do it all the time. You hear it here on the show. Poor Dabo. But I also just think this guy's kind of gotten a rough rap. USC's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
They don't have Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush and the best offensive line in the world and the best defensive line in the world walking through that door anymore.
Yeah, you can't get all of the talent out of California.
That's not happening these days. To hold them to that old standard is just crazy.
Agreed.
Hold them to the standard that they are.
James jumps in. He said Colorado covers. Jason said 12 points too many personally. This is where I would go. I would go Colorado with the points because this is one of those games, right?
That's probably the right play. That's probably the right play because USC has gotten backdoor covered against everybody they've played except for Utah. And Utah just doesn't have an offense that's functional.
Yeah, it's not capable of being able to compete with that.
Utah could finish DFL in the Pac-12 because they can't score. Like them and Cal are just like my entire high school life.
Yeah. Birdie said, Chris, is there a world where Maryland and Pitt win outright? I may throw some pizza money on that money line parlay.
I think that world does exist. One of those would really break my heart. The other one would make me so happy. I'd live in that. You know what? I'd live in that world. I'd eat that pizza.
There you go.
I'll take the sadness for the joy that the other one would bring me.
Let's fly through the last 2 games that we're going to cover. Then we'll talk about our picks and we'll jump into the parlays and then get out of here. Again, go ahead and like the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We will be talking about a lot more games on Saturday morning. And you can always hit us up on Twitter. I am at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris P. Giannini.
So for you guys jumping in about Cincy Temple and all these kind of games,
we'll hit those then.
Hit us up on Twitter. We don't have time today, but we will. We will talk to you about it.
Somebody said betting USC game seems like a bad idea. It really is. It's not good for your health. I assure you of that.
But if you had to bet it, then that's the way we would lean. Yeah. So LSU and Texas A&M. Let's go ahead and jump into that one. This one is hanging out over in College Station, Texas, and A&M up to 14.5-point favorites.
That's just disrespectful.
64 is the total, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday night on ESPN. And you remember what this was like the last time they went down to Aggie Land? A 7-overtime debacle.
Complete.
74-72 was the final. Kevin Falk ended up punching Jimbo's son or nephew or whatever it was.
No. Jimbo's son punched a 70-year-old man, and Kevin Falk laid his ass out.
Wasn't that, who was it, Steve Cragthorpe?
Yeah.
And then Kevin Falk definitely laid him out.
Laid his ass out.
There is not a lot of love lost between these two programs right now. I don't think they like each other, is what it is. Casey jumps in and said, Texas A&M makes a statement here. Sorry, Chris.
Right.
Look.
I think that number is just disrespectful, though.
The prediction
they might
tracker,
beat them by 25. The number is disrespectful.
The prediction
It's the
tracker
reigning champions.
has this.
It's still the reigning champions.
This ain't the reigning champions.
They're the reigning champions.
Man, they lost that on game 1.
No, they didn't.
All right, so James said LSU got the win last week for Chris, but this week they're going to lose. Sorry, Chris. Everybody's saying sorry, Chris. They all loving on you, man.
I appreciate the love.
That's just rubbing on that ball.
They just feel bad. They feel bad I'm being so upset on Saturday.
A&M prediction tracker has them favored by 8.49. So not nearly what this line actually is. The total, that metric that I was talking about, that I keep talking about, 65.45 is what they have it at. You know, right there around the number. A&M, the number 14 expected points added per play offense in the country. Number 14. Now, that is a metric that measures efficiency with success rate and explosiveness, right?
And I will tell you, had they been healthy and played Ole Miss, that number goes up.
Oh, yes.
That metric is dumbed down by not playing the worst defense in the West.
LSU's defense?
Pretty bad. We're down there with Ole Miss.
LSU's defense is actually statistically the worst in the West as far as the EPA per play is concerned. Number 95 in the country. So, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I should have cut you before.
That's fine.
And then you started in with it. That's fine. Yes. So this could be very interesting. I do think LSU has a shot to be able to put up some points.
I think we can score. That's the reason the 14.5 is just an insult is because I think we can score.
Yes.
This is not Auburn's defense coming at us, okay?
I think this year A&M's defense, I think, is better than Auburn's.
Oh.
I really do. Like, I don't think that you will have success running on A&M's defense.
We haven't ran on anybody, Gary. We don't run on people. We throw the football.
Yeah, and that's the only thing, and I think that A&M's secondary is pretty good. So
we'll see.
We'll see. Pretty good. All right. So off of that one, let's dive into the late ABC game. That would be Oklahoma and West Virginia, Big 12 battle.
You were wrong about the college football playoff ranking.
What was wrong?
Ohio State's 3, Clemson's 4.
That's got to be the AP because
No, it's not. This is the full college football playoff rankings.
I just watched it.
That was a typo. Do you trust Yahoo or do you trust ESPN?
Well, since they get it directly from the playoff committee, I would go with ESPN.
I think they're wrong.
All right, Oklahoma, West Virginia. This one's going to be in Morgantown. This is a 7:30 p.m. Eastern time game on ABC. West Virginia, an 11-point underdog at home. Oklahoma has been playing absolutely lights out for the past, 3-4 weeks here? Roundabout?
Yeah.
The total is 55. And a lot of people, I already see one, Mark Ramey, kind of like the over. And Chad said it last week, Oklahoma hitting their stride, might take OU here. Look, I would be very, very careful here. I just talked about LSU's expected points added per play defense being number 95. West Virginia's is number 6. Their defense is pretty good. Do not sleep on West Virginia this weekend. I don't know that they can score enough to be able to hang in there. I think they can keep it within the number. I don't know that they win the game. How's that? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
They have played insanely well in Morgantown under Neil Brown. And they seem to be getting better. Jarrett Dagey, pretty good quarterback. They seem to be doing all right. I know we've talked about road, whatever, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
That trip from Oklahoma out to Morgantown, that's a tough trip for anybody to make. I'm telling you.
What is tough about the trip? Like they're just done like a
There ain't no direct flights into Morgantown.
They're all flying charter. What are you talking about? These guys aren't in the Delta terminal waiting to get on a plane. They're not flying Southwest.
All right.
What do you mean there's not a direct flight?
Are you rolling Oklahoma?
No, I'm not rolling Oklahoma, but I don't like bad arguments, Gary.
Okay.
You know these guys aren't like laying over in Atlanta.
No, they're not laying over in Atlanta.
Then
No.
what are you talking about direct flights?
That's because they will have to go through somewhere else to be able to get over.
No, they won't. They're on a
because
private plane that's going to fly from point A to point B.
I understand that, but they're not flying into Morgantown. They're going to have to bus into the city.
Well, yeah, because Morgantown doesn't have an airport.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a tough trip.
Hang on. A 30-minute bus ride from a private plane is a tough trip?
Does anybody agree with me? Birdie said this would be a letdown spot for Oklahoma. No, that was a pretty big win for them last week. They were fired up hard to replicate that emotion.
I like West Virginia here. I don't like your logic. I think that's insane. A 45-minute bus ride is nothing.
I don't think it's 45 minutes. I think it's well over an hour, but maybe it is nothing.
It can't be that. And it's a bus ride on a charter bus and a private jet.
Okay.
I just think that's crazy. That has nothing to do with it.
Okay. The total of 55, we talked about that, right? The metric has it at 54.74. Now, that may surprise you, but West Virginia's defense, like I just talked about, pretty damn good. Oklahoma's offense, even though they put up 41 last week, in some of these spots, they have not put up a ton of points, right? And their defense has actually looked okay. I think Alex Grinch has got that thing rolling. It looks okay. Stephen Hennel said it's a college town, 30,000 kids, got to leave around the holidays or so. Let's see. Flying across country is a tough trip. It's really hard to take a bus, Chris. Gerald trying to mess with me. I see what's going on here. Let's see. Stephen said, I'm pretty sure Morgantown does have an airport. Man, I could have sworn I had people tell me that they don't have an airport there. But if they do, my apologies, Morgantown. So I'll get that figured out one way or another. But I have heard that trip is ridiculously difficult. So, again, that EPA per play, West Virginia, number 6 defense in that. I'm just saying, this feels like, you coming off of an emotional win like Bedlam.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those are good arguments. That's why I like West Virginia.
Yeah.
I like Neil Brown.
Birdie said, laugh my ass off. I don't like it when daddies fight. I love it. Robert S., Oklahoma covers.
Simple enough.
I think it's too many points. I think I would roll West Virginia, but is what it is. All right, let's dive into the picks. I got a ton of them. I'm going to go first. Gary's picks, I'm 42, 37, and 2 on the season, 53.16%. Not bad, but I feel like I could do better. And this week, by God, I'm throwing it all out there. I am, what do they call it? I'm spraying the board.
All right.
Let's go. New Mexico, -6 at Utah State. Utah State is a dumpster fire. They kicked their quarterback off the team. He wasn't very good anyway, but the guy that is playing behind him, his completion percentage is 37%. Passing is the only thing that New Mexico cannot defend. And yet, they can't throw the football. So give me New Mexico. I think they're going to be able to put up points on this, and Utah State will not be able to score. Give me Texas at home, -1 over Iowa State. You can find it. Remember, go out there, shop free lines, sbrodds.com. You can also find it at sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. I do like Iowa on Friday, -13 at home against Nebraska. Look, they are going to dominate the line of scrimmage. It will not even be close. Like, this ain't rocket science. Kirk Ferentz does not like Nebraska, and he tends to try and make a point in this game every year whenever he can. Whenever he has the team to do it, I think he does this year. Northern Illinois and Western Michigan, give me the Broncos. Give me WMU -19.5. I know it's a lot of points, but look, I have told you guys time and time again, this Northern Illinois coaching staff is not very good. Western Michigan, Caleb Ellaby, that quarterback, he has got it rolling right now. I like what Tim Lester's doing with that offense. They're going to put up points in droves here. I think they handle the 19.5, no problem. Pitt +24 at Clemson. That's what I'm talking about. I think Pitt has a chance to stay in this ball game. I think Clemson is worried about too many things other than football. I'm all over Pitt +24 here. I also like the Pitt team total over 14.5. That just seemed like way too few points here. But we can get to that. San Jose State +12 at Boise State. We've talked about that one. I don't have to explain it anymore. I like San Jose State. Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, I'm going over 59 here. I think both of these teams get into the 30s. Their defenses have not shown up very much at all this year, and I think they will both be able to score on each other. Northwestern and Michigan State. Michigan State, in their last 2 games that they've played, have scored 7 and 0 points. You think they're going to have more success against the best defense in the Big Ten and maybe we'll say top 3 defense in the country, maybe the best defense in the country?
Yeah, I think they're the best defense.
I don't know that Michigan State scores. And if they don't score, I don't expect Pat Fitzgerald to score 40 points by himself. I mean, if he gets a chance to just sit on the ball.
Yeah, he's going to sit on the ball.
Under 42.5 there. And then I'm rolling into team totals. I already said Pitt team total over 14.5. Michigan State team total under 14.5. And give me Buffalo's team total over 37. Let's dive into Chris's picks. He is 39-40 on the season. And we are looking to make that, like 47-40? You going 8-0, 9-0 this week? What are you doing?
Yeah, I got 8 picks.
All right, let's roll.
I had 10. 2 of them got canceled out. All right, Colorado State +6 against Air Force. This is the Thursday night game. Listen, this is just an Adazio play. I love that guy. You can ride with me if you want. You don't have to. It's just I'm betting on my guy. We're going to get into teams I actually like for reasons. Iowa State +1.5. I think they're the better football team. I think this is laundry only why Texas is favored, and they can't stop anybody. They can't play defense against this Iowa State team. They're not going to slow them down. Give me Iowa State +1.5. Like Gary, I'm riding with Iowa -13 against Nebraska. Nebraska's not a good football team, okay? They're just not. It doesn't matter what quarterback they play. Martinez or McCaffrey, they're both the same guy. They run the exact same. It's not like one guy runs one style of offense and they bring the other guy in to mix it up and to give us some kind of change of pace or whatever. Nope. They're just not the same team. They're the exact same, which doesn't change anything. So give me Iowa. Give me Notre Dame -4.5 against North Carolina. I just don't think North Carolina's defense has played an offense this good and this strong. I also think North Carolina, they've struggled to stop the run.
Yes.
I think Notre Dame runs the ball really well. Losing 2 offensive linemen, something that gives me a little bit of trepidation. But I've just watched Brian Kelly over the last 8 years just put the best offensive line in football over and over and over again. I just got to assume those are blue chippers. Those are big, athletic, nasty, mean dudes that they're going to replace those 2 guys with this week. They might have some issues early in the game to kind of get a little continuity going, but I think by the second half, they're going to be road graders like they always are. Give me my Tigers. LSU +14.5. I just think there's a backdoor cover there. LSU's not going to stop trying to score. I think they will not be able to run the football because they haven't ran the football against anybody. But we have a need to run the football. They can throw it. They've got receivers. They've got a quarterback I like. Last week, the defense looked better than they've looked in a long time. My only hope is that A&M's had a couple of weeks off. They got a little rusty, and they're not rested. So that's always the weird thing. Is it rust or is it rest? We got to hope for rust. Give me Memphis -13 against Navy. Navy always plays Memphis good. But this is why you got to throw out historical stats. This Navy team is bad. Historically, Navy is a pretty good football team.
Yes.
A team that we like. Now, they're a bad football team. A team we don't like. Memphis is good. Memphis is going to beat them by 2 touchdowns. Ride with the Tigers. Northwestern -13.5. It's a lot of points. I think Northwestern's going to score 25, 30. I just don't see a world where Michigan State gets more than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't see that world happening. Could be a lot of disrespect there, but you know, it is what it is. Last play of the day. It's our home state. Going with the Egg Bowl. It has potential to be the best rivalry in football. It has been so vitriolic. It's been so vile and hatred-filled the last decade of our life. And now we have the 2 most likable coaches in all of college football.
Yeah, I could get that.
Have taken over these programs. It's going to take some time. I had dinner with a State guy and an Ole Miss guy last night together, and they both talked about how I just want this game to get fun again. I want to beat my rival, but if we lose, I don't want the hatred to be there and then just completely just shitting on somebody. One more time into the drink with Ole Miss, -9.5. I think State took 49 scholarship athletes to Athens, and they laid their life on the line, and they almost came out with that win. I think they're not going to have much more than 49 scholarship athletes this week coming to Oxford. I just don't know that they can do it 2 weeks in a row. What they couldn't do against Georgia was stop the deep ball. And I'm going to tell you, the Lane Kiffin's offense is worlds. Kirby Smart and those boys are playing Connect 4, and he is playing 3D chess when it comes to the offense. That's the separation of the intelligence of the offensive scheming that you're going to find in this game. I think State can score. All I got to do is basically win by two scores. Give me the 10 points. I'm there. Give me Ole Miss.
All right. I can get with it. Let's do the parlays and teasers right quick. You got any this week?
I don't do
I know you don't. I'm going to ask every week.
That's fine. I appreciate it. I appreciate the ask.
We got the money line parlay. Let's go ahead and dive into that one. This one is a 9-teamer this week. It pays out plus 173, and there are some teams on here that you would not have expected. Let me go into mark. You know what? It's 8 teams. Never mind. And that's going to bump it back down to about 165 because I had UAB. They were a 21-point favorite over Southern Miss. That one has been wiped out. So give me Central Florida, Wyoming, Florida, NC State, Buffalo, Ohio, Coastal Carolina, and Georgia, all to win straight up. You parlay those, it'll pay out about plus 165. Not too shabby. All right, the 7-point teaser. I know everybody's been waiting on this one. It's plus 200. There's 4 teams every week, plus 200. That's the way this thing works. Give me Western Michigan, Northern Illinois, over 57.5. Give me the Egg Bowl, under 74.5. Give me Virginia, -2. And then give me Liberty minus 30.5 against UMass. I think Liberty puts it on them. I don't think I have to worry about 30.5. I think they will handle that one easily. Birdie says, thank you, men. Only pick we are head-to-head on Chris is the Notre Dame game. You guys have been fantastic. So I do appreciate everybody that has hopped in here. Chris does as well, not just me, but both of us. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us every single week. We are going to continue to do this. Go ahead and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like this video. That helps us out a ton. We don't ask a lot from you. It's a free show. We just ask that you hit that like button right there with the little thumbs up and share the show out. Tell your friends about it, all that good stuff. Jump in with your comments. Tell us what games you like this week, what games you don't. And go ahead and go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. We're going to have deep dives all week on the biggest games and some of the smaller games. We're going to try and give you the best edge possible to make sure that you can cash those tickets. So let's go ahead and get out of here. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And with that said, we hope that you all have a wonderful Tuesday evening. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you again on Saturday.